Hello, it's Daryl here. Don't worry, Taylor will be with me very soon to talk Champions League group stage finale. I'm just here to let you know that today's show is brought to you by Fuchi. Fuchi, F-U-T-C-H-I. They make the soccer rebounder. You can use it on your own to work on your technique. You can play against a friend. You can play against many friends. It is the rebounder you can set up in your backyard, at the beach, wherever you want to set it up. You've heard us advertise Fuchi on the show for the last few weeks, but time is about to start running out. If you want one in time for Christmas, you need to order it by December 15th. December 15th is the day to order it by if you want it to get there in time for the holidays. So you go to playfuchi.com, playfuchi.com. Use the discount code TSS2017, TSS2017. You'll get $20.17 off your Fuchi rebounder. That's in addition to the holiday discount that is already there. The link will be in the show notes to playfuchi.com. Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove. I'm joined by a man who would never celebrate qualifying down to the Europa League. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
I mean, it might. It depends on where I'm coming from, what the situation is.
You were coming from second place and you dropped to third.
Probably not that.
Yeah, you'd be sad, right?
Yeah. But just randomly, if somebody was like, hey, guess what? You qualified for the Europa League. I'd be like, all right, sweet, let's do it. I'm going to get destroyed 11-on-1.
Is that better than the Central Virginia Soccer Association?
Slightly.
Yeah.
Only slightly.
Okay, so today we are doing thumbs up, thumbs down.
Indeed.
I'm doing it right now so Taylor can see.
You are.
I'm going to call it the Champions League group stage finale, which maybe gives it a little too much credit in terms of drama.
I like that you set that up with the I'm going to call it, and I was ready for something like original and interesting, and instead you're like, no, that's just what the last day is called. Yep.
All right, but let's be real.
Yeah.
There was less drama than there usually is on the final day of the Champions League group stage.
It's actually fewer drama.
Fewer drama. There was fewer drama.
No, you are correct. I mean, there was a few spots still undecided, but there was nothing too major. I'd say the most dramatic one was maybe Chelsea drawing and thus not finishing top of their group.
Right.
And that speaks volumes because it wasn't sort of like, Tottenham have to win this game, otherwise they're out of the competition.
Yeah.
A lot of it had sort of already been decided, more or less. So even though the quote-unquote bigger clubs who didn't make the knockout round, it was still sort of a thing that we saw coming.
Dortmund were already in the Europa League,
exactly.
more or less, right? And lucky to be there, I would say.
I would say very lucky to be there.
But it did open things up for some more, I would say some more interesting and relaxed soccer in many ways. Like, for example, the team that Man City fielded away to Shakhtar, which led to a bunch of goals and a few really interesting things happened.
Yeah.
So I still am weirdly enjoying this thumbs up, thumbs down review because there was a lot to talk about.
I think it was the most...
I have a Llorente goal for Spurs, for example, when normally it would be a Harry Kane something.
This is very true. Yeah. I think it was...
The Fernando Llorente team, as Pep Guardiola calls them.
Is that what he calls them now?
No.
I don't think so.
He used to call them the Harry Kane team.
Yeah, I know. But I think it was the most goals scored in the group stage ever, or maybe it was the most...
Is that right?
Or in the final day. Either way, lots of goals to discuss, and not just goals to discuss. So should we get to our thumbs up and thumbs down?
Yeah, I'll invite you to start us, Taylor. Which way is your thumb going and who for?
I actually have quite a few from that Man City game.
All right, let's start
finished Shakhtar 2, Man City 1. Man City obviously go through top of the group with 15 points. And I'm going to say...
But Shakhtar go through second, right? Doesn't this result put them second and they go through? Yeah.
And with that in mind, I'm going to say thumbs up to Shakhtar manager Paulo Fonseca for keeping his promise.
What's that?
He said that if they made the knockout round, he would dress up as Zorro. He conducted today's press conference dressed as Zorro.
You didn't share this video with me before recording.
It's not even a video. It's just I just saw some photos from the post-match press conference.
What? Does Zorro involve wearing a mask?
He's wearing the mask and the hat. And the
Antonio Banderas in that movie from the 90s, question mark.
Called Zorro?
Yeah.
Yes. Like Antonio Banderas when he dressed up as Zorro to look like Zorro? Yes, that's what he looked like.
Did he slash a Z across his desk at the end of the
That I don't know,
conference?
but I do know the translator also wore a white mask, so I think everybody was in the spirit of things. So
I guess Shakhtar has a sense of humor.
Yeah, as well you should. I want to say thumbs up to City for revealing their Achilles heel as to how Premier League teams can beat them, face them when they're not playing any of their first-team players. That's really the way to do it.
Or not many of their first-team players, yeah. Okay, on a related note, I've got thumbs up to Pep Guardiola for playing the kids and the reserves. So Tosin Adarabioyo is a young centre-back who started in this game. Fernandinho played centre-back in the back three. Phil Foden played left wing. Phil Foden played the whole game at left wing. So I didn't see the whole game. I saw bits. Foden looked good when he got the ball to me. But the reason I like this is because Phil Foden's not a left wing back, which is kind of the position. But this says to me that Guardiola was saying, hey, Phil Foden, Mendy's out. Fabian Delph is doing fine but not perfect. If you want to crack the Man City starting 11, this is probably the spot you're going to do it. So go out there and show me that you should be moving up the pecking order.
And also, please don't leave for another club in January.
Please don't move to Borussia Dortmund.
yeah, that too. I mean, and certainly the result didn't go the way they would have liked. Phil Foden, I'm sure, would have liked to have scored the winner, but I think he'll also console himself with the fact that he's a 17-year-old who's now getting Champions League minutes.
And he was not at fault for any of the goals that I saw.
And that's why I'm going to say thumbs down to Ederson, the Man City goalkeeper. I'm saying thumbs down because just because you can come off your line does not mean you have to come off your line. Unless you pay for Pep Guardiola, in which case maybe you do.
So this was Ismaili, the number 3, ran through, and Ederson came out to meet him. And weirdly, I think he got there in time and could have got. Normally, Ederson kind of goes through people to get the ball, or will risk a kick to the face, as he famously did. But somehow, for some reason, backed out.
I think there's two things there. I think one, to your point, he's had a lot of collisions. He's had a lot of run-ins with people. Maybe there was just a little bit of a hesitation there. But the other one, because I found myself wondering the same thing, and I went and watched it again, and I think he anticipates being able, the ball bouncing, and then he's going to be able to clear it before Ismaili can get a touch to it. But Ismaili gets one tiny little touch in that takes the ball away. And so I think Ederson actually wisely recognizes, if I try to clear this ball, I'm going to take him out. It's going to be a red card.
And then I'm suspended for the round of 16.
So then I think he pulls up. That's my guess. I'll still say
your analysis is better.
I'll still say he's not going to be so thrilled because do you know who that man wrapped up in the blanket was?
No.
That we saw on the TV? Chiche, the Brazilian national team manager, who was there in the crowd to watch that happen.
Keeping warm.
So I wonder if he's like, maybe I look at other goalkeeping options and just see what else is out there.
I think Ederson has a body of work that might speak for itself, right? And by the time the World Cup rolls around, it'll be not too far from Donetsk, right?
Yeah.
But I think he'll have been forgiven by then.
Well, I don't think this game was in Donetsk, but yeah. I think it was a decent amount of distance away from where the current fighting is happening.
I forgot about that situation where, for the record, basically Russia invaded Ukraine. Let's get it on record.
So they are in Medalisk something's stadium, I believe is where that game was.
So I'm going to say then, thumbs up to Ismaili himself. Not just for getting that touch that I didn't even know was there, but I'm giving him a thumbs up for Bernard's goal. So this is the opening goal for Shakhtar. It's when you watch the video reel, it is a great finish by Bernard. He's up against Danilo. Danilo is in the area. He kind of just shifts to the right and bends it up and over Ederson and into the top corner. But rewatching it, I can see that Ismaili is the guy that does an overlapping run and just causes Danilo to flinch and kind of almost go with him and gives Bernard the alley to escape down, essentially. He aids in Bernard's getaway from Danilo.
It feels like Shakhtar are back at that point where they've got the players that we haven't really heard of, but suddenly they're going to be sold for 35 million euros this summer.
I also saw Guardiola was quite impressed with Ismaili from the first time these teams met.
Did he get out and scream at him after the game, or is that reserved for only very special players?
It's the very special Nathan Redmond treatment that you get. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep it with English clubs, and I'm going to take us back to England because I've got a lot of thumbs up for Liverpool.
Okay.
7-0 destruction of Spartak Moscow. And I'm going to say, number one, thumbs up for punishing racists because Ryan Brewster, the youngster, was allegedly racially abused by a Spartak player in their Champions League or their youth league game.
This is a U19 Champions League game, right? Yeah.
But this is the second time in 2 months, I think, that Spartak have been alleged to have made a racist comment or there was racism involved. So with that in mind, I very much appreciate that the Liverpool senior team went out and punished Spartak accordingly. Yeah. Do you have anything from this game?
I mean, thumbs up to Liverpool for not letting a 3-0 lead slip.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to just make it 7-0. And also, thumbs up to Spartak Moscow for obviously not taking performance-enhancing drugs.
They just really want it to be clear that the Olympic team is very separate.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm with you. And to your point about Liverpool scoring goals, most ever by an English club in the group stage, 23 goals in the group stage.
Oh, because didn't they put 7 past Maribor as well?
And they're the first team to ever score 7 in 2 group stage games. So, not bad things there. And I'm also going to say thumbs up to Liverpool for, it seems, practicing the weave on a consistent basis. Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, I think you're the one that brought that one up, so I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Well, basically they run the weave. on, is it Coutinho's goal?
Yes.
The opening Liverpool goal. Well, you coached our team in the weave, the drill. So would you mind explaining exactly how it works? Because, to be honest, I've slightly forgotten.
Sure. It's essentially just a drill designed to teach like young players how to like pass the ball, follow their pass, and then kind of like how they can change position on a field so you're not just staying in the middle of the field waiting for the ball.
So especially what Liverpool's front three tries to do all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you imagine, like, the easiest way to do it is you start at one end line, or start at like one sideline, you're trying to get to the other one. You have three people, like one in the center, one on the right, one on the left. The one on the center passes the ball to the guy on the right. He follows that pass. The guy on the right passes it all the way to the guy on the left. He follows that pass, and you go all the way up the field doing that.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you can kind of keep switching the ball, but you're doing it by moving the ball as opposed to just like passing it from right to center to left and back and back and back.
Yeah.
And really, Liverpool's goals, a number of them looked like they had been doing that drill, that it was a lot of off the ball running, but a lot of following the pass to drag a defender one way, then the other player comes back inside. Really, really pretty goals from Liverpool.
My favourite one, I think, was the Mane one, where he's kind of
Which
falling
one? The
backwards.
smash? Oh, that one, okay.
Yeah, because, not least because of the actual finish, which was like weirdly unbalanced for someone who was falling backwards, and the ball popped up and he still managed to just volley it home. But I think he wins the ball in midfield. I can't remember who he plays it right to. Is it Sturridge? I think Sturridge, he plays it too. And then Mane charges down the middle at full pace, full Mane pace. But then
Mane pace.
at the last minute does that like swerve to the left on his run to get the other side of the defender, because I think he knows, or at least Sturridge knows, that that's the move, and then he can put the ball between the keeper and the defender for Mane. It's a really nice goal.
And we're actually talking about two different ones, because you're right, that one is a really pretty where he kind of pulls behind him and then still puts it in the goal. But then there's the other one, I think it's Liverpool's fourth, that is just absolutely a flying volley that he smashes into the back of the net.
That's
That
the
will
one.
work as well.
It's weirdly an instep volley. Doesn't he change his mind at the last second from going laces? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
great.
so-
I mean, great stuff for Liverpool fans especially. That would have been very enjoyable to watch those 7 goals go in,
I'd say so.
especially after the Sevilla game.
I think my buddy Trey texted to say, decent result. So I think they're pretty pleased.
At the very least. What else you got?
I've got from Barcelona 2, Sporting 0, thumbs down to Sporting's corner kick defense. Not great. So Barcelona have a corner. Sporting go with a zonal approach. They have 8 players inside the 6-yard box, including the goalkeeper. 2 more inside the penalty area, so 10 players in the penalty area. Barcelona had 6 in the 18 and 2 in the 6-yard box, like 6 total, 2 in the 6-yard box.
Yeah.
Still score. It's a near post corner just flicked on by Paco Alcázar, put in the back of the net, and that's it. And really,
go straight in from Alcázar?
yes, and it's like corner comes in, he flicks it on goal. Corner from Denis Suarez. But it's just that thing of like, if you're going to do the zone, you can do a zonal defense. That's fine. But you got to do it right, and you got to attack that ball. And instead, what every single Sporting player did was just jump straight up to try to head it. And Paco was there, and just a little bit of a flick. That's all it takes.
So I haven't seen this goal, got to be honest, but my feeling is when you do a zone, you can't be too clustered together.
Nope.
Because then you get that diffusion of responsibility, and no one really knows what their zone is, right? It's like your zones need to be at least as big as, say, personal space on an elevator.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think, and I think if I describe this to you as Sporting had 6 players all in the 6-yard box, I think your brain naturally would assume like, oh, okay, so they've probably got like one guy here, and then they've got like 4 along the 6-yard box, and like really no, it's just they're all just kind of like shoved into like one area, and then they're just standing there like, all right, I guess we defend now. So they didn't do a very good job there. And then one other player who didn't do a very good job in that game would be Jeremy Mathieu. Thumbs down to him for
Barca's French defender, right?
No, former Barca defender.
Oh.
Once again, he forgot he does not play for Barcelona anymore. Scored another own goal. He scored.
Is he doing that in both the group stage games?
I can't remember if he did it in this one or last. I guess I know he scored another one because I remember having this exact same conversation. But here, yeah, own goal. Tried to slide tackle to keep out of the back of the net in the 91st minute, and instead puts it right into his own goal. 2-0 Barcelona.
Oh, no.
Yep.
I'm so sorry, Jeremy. Let's go to Spurs. I want to say, as mentioned at the top of the show, thumbs up to Fernando Llorente for that turn. Right? So I think it's the first goal in Spurs' 3-0 win over Apoel Nicosia. It's a ball in from Serge Aurier. It's a pretty fast-paced ball, and Llorente receives it kind of back, slightly side on, but back to goal. And in one motion, kind of receives it and spins it the other way and turns and hits it all in one beautifully fluid motion. That's a really hard skill to do. Like, I can do that when the ball's stationary. I cannot do it with a cross that's been whipped in low.
I think anytime a person can make something that's incredibly complex look really easy, it speaks to their level of ability. And in that situation, you're right that like that ball comes in, it's just he reaches behind him, turns, puts it in the net, and you can think that's really simple, but it requires so much like forethought to figure out, okay, I need to be basically as I'm
Or
receiving
repetition. I got the feeling that's something he's maybe done in practice 100 times.
Yeah, that's
this
probably
week.
it. But because like it's a mechanical thing at that point, you know, as I'm receiving this ball, I need to be turning my hips, and so you're doing like two things independently of each other within your own body, which I guess doesn't sound that impressive because, like, you know, I can pat my head and rub my belly.
I can sometimes do that.
You get what I'm getting at, though. It's like to have that awareness of what everything needs to be doing in order to finish the ball perfectly.
Yep.
It's a very good goal.
All right, Spurs, top of the group.
Can I say thumbs down? And I love him, but thumbs down to Rob Stone for
What's Rob Stone
a
doing?
Daryl Grove-esque dad joke in this one.
So a really good joke?
No. Yours are better than this one because it's Son Heung-min is the second goal scorer, and I think Rob Stone went for a play on young man, so he was like, and this young man, Song Heung-min.
Oh, no.
And then there was like a one Mississippi pause, and he's like, you're going to be seeing more from him real soon. It's just like, oh no, Rob, come on. But also a very good goal by Son.
I think like the rest of the Champions League, or most of the rest of the Champions League, Rob Stone was maybe in a relaxed mood today.
I'd say so.
It's casual Wednesday.
I'd say so, yes.
Fox Sports.
And again, we love Rob Stone.
Yeah,
but
of course we do.
That maybe a little workshop that one. Workshop that one a little bit.
How about this then? Thumbs down to Victor Lindelof, Chris Smalling, Antonio Valencia, Luke Shaw, and I believe Ander Herrera for not knowing how offside works. Not knowing all the rules of offside.
I was wondering if this was going to be nice, and it wasn't.
So Man United beat CSKA Moscow 2-1 in the end, but CSKA went 1-0 up with a goal that is weirdly credited to Vitinho, but it actually hits Alan Zhagoev, the number 10, who you may see playing for Russia at the World Cup, hits him on the way in. Zhagoev looks like he's in an offside position, but that's only because Daley Blind, I can't remember who the player was that sort of cut back on Daley Blind and put the ball back to Vitinho, has slid straight across him and out of bounds. And apparently, I didn't know this either, to be fair, so I feel actually very judgmental giving thumbs down to all these Man United players. They're professionals, they should know. When you slide straight off the field or exit the field, you are counted as being sort of on the goal line, and you are still sort of playing people onside at that point.
Right, because the obvious point there is that, say you're a player who's like hung back to talk to the goalkeeper, and suddenly you recognize, like, oh no, I've kept them on by 40 yards, I'll just step out of bounds, and then it negates that situation.
So as I understand it, there is a thing where, like, if you're injured and you hobble off and it's before the play, like this actual like phase of play has started, then you're not involved, so you don't count as like being the deepest offside line.
The phase of play
but if you
is
slide
key there.
straight off, then
But also, I think we've seen that before. I think it was in Serie A a couple years ago, like maybe with Fiorentina, a purple team stands out. But it was like a player got hurt, but it was in like while other things were happening, like in the build-up of the play, and he kind of like crawled off the field, but then still kept players on side because it hadn't like been deemed to be before the play was building up. So there you go. Things can happen. My question,
I guess they all learned a lesson
because I don't remember this like as well as you do. I haven't watched it as much as you have. Do they all like vehemently protest, or is it just sort of like, no, he's offside?
They all put their arm in the air for an extended period of time.
Yeah. That could be worse. At least it's not the like
it
grabbing the referee, screaming in his face sort of protest. That would be less fun to see.
Aside from that, it's still interesting to me that Vitinho gets the credit. He strikes it from inside the box. It genuinely hits Alan Zhagoev in the back and goes in.
Yep.
It redirects it past not De Gea, it's Romero, I believe, is in goal.
Sergio.
United win 2-1. Really nice goal from Lukaku with a really good ball in from Paul Pogba. I believe Rashford has the winner after a nice sort of first-time pass from Juan Mata. But that's not the highlight of the game, is it?
It is not. I'm going to assume you're referring to Mr. Pogba's skillful work.
I am. So everybody probably should have seen this on the internet somewhere. It's on Reddit. It's on Twitter. I'll put a link in the show notes if you haven't seen it because it's worth seeing. Thumbs down.
I like the dual meaning of that as like people probably have already seen it, but if not, you should have seen it already. So there's no excuse.
Thumbs down to Paul Pogba for posterizing young Konstantin Kuchayev.
He certainly did.
He certainly did. So this is when you see the footage, this is who's wearing number 89 for CSKA. He's a 19-year-old Russian player who's trying his best to tackle Paul Pogba at the touchline along with someone else. Pogba holds him off with that strength, that famous strength we talked about, Koscielny trying to get around him the other day. Holds him off. There's no way through. There's no way through for Kuchayev. Pogba does the drag back, instep, nutmeg through Kuchayev's legs because Kuchayev has opened his legs to try and get around him. spins around, he's out of pressure, and immediately sees Rashford, I believe, running through and splits a couple of defenders to find Marcus Rashford.
It reminded me of when I was like
Beautiful.
10 years old and we had like professional players as coaches, and when they would like get involved in the 5v2s or whatever, and you'd be like, oh, I got him this time, and the ball's gone and I don't know where it is, and it went between my legs, and now I'm embarrassed. Whoops.
I mean, this is where Paul Pogba's at, right? Because I think, I don't want to redo this completely because we talked about it with Koscielny. Essentially, when you have the size and strength and ball control and smarts and awareness of Paul Pogba, you can literally just use your body to hold people off, and then you can use their desperate attempts to get the ball off you. You can then exploit them and make fools of them and get away from them.
This is true. Speaking of desperate attempts, though, I'm going to say thumbs down to Paul Pogba, and it's something that you pointed out, and I genuinely think it's the way he tackles, which is not an excuse because it's always going to be a card. But we saw in this game the same thing that he got red carded for in Man United's last game. And it's that sort of over the top, like coming, like almost like a stomp down, even if it's not like necessarily a stamp on the player. It's still, you're basically leading with the bottom of your studs, and that is never going to look good, and certainly not going to look good in like rapid fire play. It's going to result in a red card more often than not.
It could have resulted in one this time. Right? Like a sort of a less lenient referee might have seen that as dangerous play and given him a second red card for the same thing 2 games in a row. Yeah.
So I wonder if this is like he's the reincarnation of Paul Scholes. Not quite in terms of like size and strength, but more so in the idea that maybe they'll just never learn to tackle, and it's just always going to be that like,
Pogba's still only 24.
Yeah.
I think he's got time.
I'm just trying to build the narrative because I feel like I heard an interview with somebody a while ago where they basically said that Scholes like knew that was his reputation and could sort of get away with it sometimes because people are like, oh, Paul can't tackle. And it's like, no, he's a professional. He knows how to tackle.
70% bad tackle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, it's good for him.
Oh, shucks. I messed it up again. One day I'll learn. Sorry I broke your leg.
What else you got? I've got a few more. I don't want to be hugging all the thumbs.
Sure. I'm going to say thumbs up to Beşiktaş. Finishing top of their group, the most points ever by a Turkish team advancing to the knockout round. It is indeed. And I want to say they did it in sort of like responding to mockery style, because I guess in the lead up to this game, RB Leipzig had put out a tweet that was sort of like, you know, like, we await you and now you'll hear what noise is all about, or something like that.
In response to when RB Leipzig went to Beşiktaş, was it Timo Werner?
Yes.
Essentially the noise of Beşiktaş Stadium made him dizzy and he had to come off.
Yeah, so I think they were promising it would be just as loud. That was not the case.
You can't live up to that. They'd have been better off not addressing that at all.
Yes. Yeah. And then Leipzig needed to win and get a little bit of help in the Porto game, which they did not get anyway. Porto won that one. But Leipzig lost this game. They did equalize in the like 88th minute, 87th minute.
Yeah.
And then Talisca went and scored in the 90th minute. So and it was a beautiful goal from Naby Keita. And it made me terrified for him playing for Liverpool, since I'm not a Liverpool fan.
He kind of ended up being able to just dribble in a straight line through the middle of the Beşiktaş defense.
It was a little bit of a slalom, but mostly straight.
Is it Mitrovic, I think, is the defender who just, I think, slipped at the last minute, so it makes it look easier than it was. But Naby Keita in a Liverpool team is going to be a scary thing.
But then speaking of making things look easier than they are, that Talisca finish for the winner, it's like one of those kind of dribble to the end line, sort of chipped ball, sort of lofted ball, but still sort of driven ball back, and he hits it perfectly on the bounce with the instep. Puts it in the back of the net.
I'd say he clipped it on the bounce, right, and then put it top corner, I believe.
Something like that. Yeah. It's a very good goal.
Great goal for Talisca. Well done to Beşiktaş.
Yes.
I'd say as well, thumbs up to Porto then, because they beat, who did they beat 5-2? Monaco, right? So Porto were one of the few teams who really sort of had to do something to make sure they went through, and they did, right? They had to get a win against Monaco. They got it. 5-2. A couple of goals from Abubakar. Good stuff. I think he scored the first 2, so it was almost over.
Sounds familiar.
But a thumbs down, a very serious thumbs down to Felipe, Porto centre-back, for getting himself sent off. He will miss the round of 16, the first game at least, for getting himself sent off, I believe, in the first half.
Yeah, he had a run-in with Ghazal, the Monaco midfielder, and I think basically... I can't remember who took exception to whom, but it would have been Ghazal.
They were challenging for the ball and was shirt pulling either way.
And I think it was Felipe was the one who did the more dramatic of the shirt pulling. But then I think what he took exception to was that it'd be the equivalent of if you, Dare, were dribbling away from me and I pulled your jersey, and as you were falling, you kind of shoved me in the face on the way down.
There was a bit of a swipe and then a face shove.
And so it would have been Ghazal probably getting the red card because he's the one who puts his hand in Felipe's face and kind of shoves him back. Then the referee comes over, breaks them up, and as he's separating them, it's Felipe smacks Gazal in the face, and it's like, well,
it's worse than that. He reaches around the referee to smack Gazal in the face. It doesn't even really make good contact, but he does make contact hand to face. Yeah. And obviously the referee sees it because the hand went around the referee's head. You can't be dumber than that. You can't be dumber than literally doing it in front of the referee's face. He's facing you, so he knows where your arms are going, and you strike the other player standing behind the ref. Felipe sent off. He's gone. He's missing the round of 16.
And do you remember the thing that makes it even worse?
No.
So the referee already had a yellow card out. So it was clearly just going to be a yellow card to each. Let's calm it down. And
it might have been a yellow to Felipe and then a red to Gazal for the hand in face. But yeah, then you match him for body part to body part. Right?
Also, for you Monaco fans out there / Algeria fans, apologies for that pronunciation. I'm sure it's like Quetzal or something. But
here's a bit of good news if you're a Mexico fan. Felipe's suspension, he's a centre-back, Brazilian centre-back, means Diego Reyes, who doesn't always start for Porto, he was on the bench, he came on in this game, probably Diego Reyes gets to start a Champions League round of 16 game.
I forgot about
It's a big test for him.
I forgot about the Mexico triumvirate at Porto. We got to get some people in
Hector Herrera was wearing the captain's armband. He was the one that eventually persuaded Felipe to maybe stop complaining. He's already shown you the red card. Just leave the field.
There we go. That's what Lolita does. And Jesus Corona, right? Is that Tecatito? I always forget which one is Tecatito.
That's why he's Tecatito, because
Corona, sponsored by a club with Tecate as the sponsor. There we go.
There you go, Tecatito.
More things for me. I'm going to say... thumbs down to Timu Bakayoko for taking a micro nap at the worst possible moment. So this Chelsea won, Atletico won. Chelsea needed a win to finish top of the group. Instead, they finished second. Antonio Conte probably will not be thrilled about that. But it's basically from a corner. Saul ends up with the goal, but Bakayoko is marking Saul and just sort of stops. Like, I think there's a little bit of a bump, so maybe he gets distracted there. But it is very clearly him just watching the ball come in and looks around and realizes, like, oh, my guy's now 5 yards away and heading it in. That's not good. So I have a feeling he's going to get a talking to from Antonio Conte.
This wasn't even what I was thinking about. Bakayoko also has a moment where he lets the ball run under his foot. Oof. Have you seen this? This kind of got Reddited as well. It was
I did not see that.
He's just receiving the ball on the touchline and kind of stumbles and misses it, and the ball goes out. I think there was a Man United, a very pro Man United Twitter feed retweeted it as this is who Chelsea replaced Matic with.
Yeah, and I wouldn't agree with that sentiment so much. I mean, it is true that that's who they replaced him with.
Yeah.
But I am kind of surprised because I really thought I was terrified of Bakayoko going to Chelsea.
Oh, he was amazing for Monaco last year.
He was going to shred people, and it does seem like it's been sort of a slow start.
Probably still will eventually. He's had his good moments in the Premier League.
Yeah, and he's still 22, 23, something like that.
He'll be okay.
He's a youngin'. My final one, I'm going to end on a down note. I'm going to say thumbs down to Benfica for making the wrong kind of history. First ever team from pot 1 to finish group play with 0 points.
Ouch!
0 points out of 6 group stage games, which I know frustrated you.
They lost 2-0 to FC Basel today, right?
They did, or yesterday I think it was. But which I know frustrates you all the more.
Yes, because obviously they weren't going anywhere. This was definitely a game that didn't matter to Benfica, apart from maybe not setting that record.
Yeah.
But thumbs down to Benfica coach Rui Vitoria for not #playing your kids.
Yeah.
By which I mean #playing our kids. So young American Keaton
Me and
Parks.
Daryl, we adopted him. It's our
Keaton
kid.
Parks, midfielder. Could have been in this game. I really thought this was a good game to give him a Champions League run out because the game didn't matter. He wasn't even on the bench and they lost 2-0 anyway.
Yikes.
He did sign a new contract, I believe.
He did.
I bet that's going to be in the scouting report, so I won't spoil it.
I believe it is. Do you have any more thumbs up, thumbs down?
I do. I got 2 quick ones.
Cool.
Thumbs up to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang for acing the job interview. So Borussia Dortmund lost 3-2 to Real Madrid, but the 2 Dortmund goals were an Aubameyang diving header and an Aubameyang chip over the keeper. So the absolute best job interview he could do is to score 2 very impressive, memorable goals, but still let Real Madrid win.
I feel like this is some sort of micro part of the audition
or
the interview because
it's the goal scoring and loyalty test.
Yeah, but it's also sort of them I'm sure they already know more than enough about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to want him on the team.
My tongue is very firmly in my cheek.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't sign him this summer and there's a good chance they don't actually want him.
Well, I'm just saying, but you're still right though that it never hurts to score 2 goals against the team. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if that's the equivalent of bringing donuts to the 3rd interview when you know they already like you. I feel like that's what scoring 2 goals is.
Good donuts as well.
Yeah.
Like chocolate, cinnamon, something else. I don't know.
Have you eaten donuts before?
I haven't eaten many donuts.
I feel like you're an alien right now. It feels like you just made up a donut.
What's a good donut?
I mean, there's plenty of options out there. I do love the
Name your favorite.
The maple with bacon. You can't go wrong with
Maple
that.
with bacon.
Maple glazed with
Oh,
bacon. Mm-hmm.
So many reasons not
I
to.
think at the end it's always the like the custard filled or the Boston cream. I'm a big fan of those too.
All right.
I try not to eat donuts as much because I don't know if you know this, not full of vitamin C and protein as much as I would like them to be.
Okay, final one I have is thumbs up to Diego Perotti for making sure.
Okay.
So have you seen Roma's goal against Karabakh?
No.
Roma needed to win, obviously. Diego Perotti plays a 1-2 with Kevin Strootman, who is not Michael Bradley. Then plays a through ball to Edin Dzeko. Edin Dzeko shoots. I don't know the Karabakh keeper's name. I apologise. The ball pops up in the air. Diego Perotti kind of tracks it, runs after it, goes ahead of Dzeko, who's also going for the rebound, and is kind of at the, I guess, near or far post. He's at the post, essentially. But make sure to jump up before it goes out of play, head it in, make sure Roma win that game, go through top of the Champions League group.
There we are. And that's kind of a shock given the way things were. And again, I think that's why Antonio Conte is probably not going to be thrilled.
Yeah.
As you said, though, we now know who finishes top, who's out. Do we want to get to that, or should we get to something else first?
Yeah, so maybe we'll get to the possible round of 16 draws after we let you know that today's show is sponsored by Roughneck Scarves.
Our old friends.
Our old friends at Roughneck
the
Scarves.
Official scarf providers of the U.S. national team, of U.S. soccer, of Major League Soccer, of USL, and of the NCAA.
And they also have all kinds of other scarves you can buy to support a national team or any other sort of club team. You can also design a custom scarf. So we asked, if you were to design a Roughneck scarf to commemorate the Champions League group stage finale, what would it look like?
Silver Ray says, hashtag save the crew. I mean, for Dortmund, because, black and gold.
So I think just keeping that message in the headlines is what Silver Ray is doing there. SaveTheCrew.com. Francisco Zenteno says it would have Pep floating on a door that says round of 16 while telling Sarri, I'll never let go, as he is sinking down to the Europa League.
I like that one.
For those who don't know, Sarri is the Napoli coach who some people say has a very similar style to Pep.
I just want to point out real fast, Mythbusters proved Jack and Rose could not have both fit on that piece of furniture.
Is that real?
Just throwing it out there.
Is that
true?
true?
Yes. I still see that all the time, that joke.
Is there like a deleted scene maybe where they tried to both sit on it and then Jack had to go in the water?
I think there should be. I feel like that's something James Cameron will incorporate into the 20th anniversary, whenever that is. I feel like shockingly soon if it hasn't already happened.
And there'll also be a scene where he sort of steps over the tail of Jabba the Hutt.
I've just occurred, first of all, no, that's never happening again. It's just occurred to me that I feel like that movie is more than 20 years old, and I don't love that.
Oh, yeah,
idea.
it came out in 97.
Oh, no. I don't feel good about that. I did read the other day, on a side note, sorry, Roughneck, but do you know Bill Watterson, who did Calvin and Hobbes?
No.
Oh, okay. He was approached multiple times by George Lucas about making that into a movie, and he's like, no, that's never happening. Leave me alone. It was him and Steven Spielberg,
Specifically for George Lucas or specifically for anyone?
For anyone, but I think it was Spielberg and Lucas were the two that approached him. Anyway, Soccer Never Sleeps at Jersey Jonathan. Year of England on one side, because all five made it through.
Yes, they did.
Pictures of Pep, Klopp, Jose, Conte, and Pochettino's heads on the other.
I feel like that's undercutting the first side.
I think it probably is. You put that together, did you?
I see what you're doing, Jersey Jonathan. I see you. Quinn Fitzgerald would have a fist-pumping Klopp on one side playing heavy metal football. He did do a lot of that. He did it 7 times this week. Sad Klopp on the other, realising there was a 50-50 draw against a super club. We'll get into that in a minute.
It does seem like Chris Hughton this weekend took issue with Klopp celebrating every goal in that 5-1 win.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have learned much from that one, Jurgen Klopp. I feel like he's still going to celebrate just as hard.
He's doubling down.
Yes.
He's doubling down. So if you would like to buy a scarf from the Roughneck Scarves store, we would, of course, recommend the Total Soccer Show scarf, not least because, full disclosure, we see a cut of it.
We do.
You can use the discount code Total Soccer Show, all one word, at roughneckscarves.com, and you'll get 20% off. Any scarf at roughneckscarves.com, you'll get 20% off.
Thank you to Roughneck Scarves for sponsoring today's program. So as we said, we now know who's gone through, who's top of the group, who's out. Going to the Europa League are CSKA Moscow, Celtic, Atletico Madrid, Sporting CP, Spartak Moscow, Napoli, RB Leipzig, and Borussia Dortmund. So those are your Europa League ones. Bye-bye. Everybody else is gone. Just kidding. We've got the draw to come.
Yeah, the draw is this coming Friday, 6 a.m. The way it works is if you finish top of your group, then you're going to be drawn against a team that finished second in their group. The only then caveats to that are you can't be drawn against a team from the same country and you can't be drawn against the second place team from your own group because they don't want to repeat the fixtures. So that means that certain things can't happen, right? So Chelsea are the only team that finished second from England. So that means that they cannot draw first place teams Liverpool, Manchester United, or Manchester City.
Or Tottenham.
Yeah,
and then they also can't finish play the team.
And they can't play Roma
that finished top, which would be
leave
Roma.
them many to draw, right?
Leaves them 3 teams specifically.
Who does it leave Chelsea to draw?
It leaves them with Besiktas, PSG, and Barcelona. Those
I
are
know
the
which
3.
one I would prefer then.
I'm not sure I do know who.
I think you would theoretically prefer Besiktas,
Yes.
but you may live to regret it.
I think you might.
Sound good?
I think
Yeah.
you might. Yes, and then worth noting, if you're very new to the Champions League, that's the rules for this round. Next round, it's open.
Yeah, it opens up a bit more.
So then 2 English clubs could draw each other. Chelsea could draw Roma if both advanced, that sort of thing.
So the other interesting thing for me is which sort of big name teams finished second and are therefore eligible for big matchups. I have Bayern Munich finished second in Group B to PSG. Chelsea, obviously. Juve finished second in Group D behind Barcelona. Sevilla finished behind Liverpool. Group
There's a big
E.
one. There's a big one.
And in Group
Final
G,
one.
it's Porto. In Group H, it's Real Madrid Club de Football.
Yep.
Yep.
Yes. And so we do have like the percentage likelihood chart in front of us.
Oh,
and
let's not refer to numbers.
And
That's
we
boring.
really shouldn't, because
don't.
it is the sort of thing where
You're
it's like,
about to go on you.
they're most likely, well, just in the sense that like they're most likely to draw this team, and it's like, well, yeah, that's 16%, and all the other ones like 15.8%. So
it's still possible.
It's still pretty wide open.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like how in the presidential election, one candidate had a 70% chance of winning. Doesn't mean that they definitely win.
This is
right?
true. So what I've done, Dale Grove, is
Tell
I've
you
made
what,
my
rock
own draw,
draw.
and I just kind of did it on the fly, and it worked.
Can I call it the rock draw?
Sure. Why not? That works for me. I'm going to go the Pogba route and just make everything rock. That's cool. So
tell us quickly how these came out, and I'll give you my quick reaction.
Sure. So Manchester United v Porto.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Man United versus all those Mexican players at Porto.
And Jose Mourinho returned to Porto.
Oh, yes,
and also
that's
Man
even
United tend to get like not the worst opposition they could possibly get right away. So I feel like that will continue.
That'll be interesting.
PSG Chelsea.
Oh, yes.
Oil Cashico. I think I've seen it written.
Okay,
Yeah.
lovely.
Roma Sevilla.
Roma Sevilla, all right, interesting.
Barca Basel.
Barca, Basel, be very similar colours.
That's
I
what I'm going
believe
for.
Barcelona was inspired by Basel.
I think that's
the
actually
founding of
true,
it? Yeah.
and I'm sure we'll hear about that if we're wrong. But yeah, it's the color derby. That's what I've gone with there. Liverpool versus Real Madrid.
Ooh. Oh, I would enjoy that.
See, exactly.
You know that Klopp would still do his Klopp thing against Real Madrid. It'd be really interesting to see what happens.
I feel like you'd see some cards, you'd see lots of goals. It would be a fascinating game.
Imagine trying to pressure Luka Modric or Toni Kroos into giving up the ball.
That would be fascinating, and I would like to see it happen.
Trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've got
right.
City Juve.
I like that too.
Mm-hmm. I've got Besiktas Shakhtar. So you've got, I think that would be the.
Have you put the 2 least glamorous teams together to make your other 7 games look better?
I did not mean to do that, but no, it's actually because it's 2 teams. That would be the first time in a very long time that a team that wasn't in like Europe's top 6, quote unquote, made it further into the knockout round. So I'd like to have one underdog continue that run,
Oh, I see.
much like we had Monaco last year, even if they weren't like the biggest of underdogs.
So you want Shakhtar or Besiktas in the quarterfinals?
Yes,
Yeah, all right.
and that leaves the final
What
one:
was another one?
Spurs Bayern.
Ooh, that would also be great.
Yes.
Spurs, anyone feels good, right?
Yep.
Because Spurs are still, I think they're a very, very good team, but they're also kind of a fresh team in terms of the Champions League. So it's not like same old, oh, we've seen this matchup multiple times. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And for those Spurs fans out there who are worried, you are statistically most likely to draw Sevilla. So it's less likely you'll get Bayern Munich. Don't worry there.
So the draw, once again, is what? Friday, 6 a.m., I
believe so.
I'm guessing it'll be on Fox Sports 1 since they have all the coverage.
So have fun waking up for that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, can I give a final thumbs up to Fox Soccer
Yes,
Match
you can.
Pass for their, is it called Multi-Match 90?
Yeah.
I believe that's what it's called.
It's like their version of NFL Red Zone.
Yeah, so it's like, it's an around the games type thing, and you basically just watch the feed, and they go to wherever the action is. It's a really enjoyable way to watch this match day.
So I had never watched it before, and I always thought it wouldn't really work for soccer, but it absolutely does,
Yeah.
and especially because they keep the alert system going, so
Yes.
you know, like, ooh, there's been a goal here, or there's been something crazy there.
You know, there's a producer behind the scenes scrambling to put that footage together, ready to show you.
Because I think it either says goal and it shows you the 2 club crests,
It does.
or
You don't know which one.
Or it will just show you the club crests, and then that leaves it to the announcer to say, like, ooh, there's been some drama there, and you know that probably means a red card has come.
I've never heard the voice of the guy who was doing these sort of interstitial stuff, right? Because they cut to specific games that had match commentary, but then they had this one guy who was just your link overseeing it.
It's
all.
hard, man.
He was very good at what he did because that stuff is hard to do.
It sure is. Yeah.
If anyone knows who that is, let us know.
You got to find those transitions and like the way to segue without making it too obvious.
I think
he did a good job.
One of his excellent transitions was there's another goal in the Liverpool-Moscow game. Is it a comeback from Moscow? Of course it isn't.
That was kind of brutal.
I think that was another Sadio Mane
brutal
goal.
but deserved. Yeah.
Good work. All right, so Champions League group stage is over. It gets dramatic in the next round.
Finally.
Yeah. We'll. I don't know if we'll be doing a show in time to react to the group stage draw. But if it's anything like the round of 16 draw, if it's anything like what you drew out, I'll be very excited, and we'll have lots to talk about.
I'll be down for it.
You'll be down for it. Okay. Final thing
also, I will immediately regret not putting down a massive wager on getting all 8 of the possible draws correct.
Well, if I see any plane tickets to Vegas on the TSS statements, then we'll know where you've gone.
Yeah.
Okay, final thing on today's show. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scouting reports. Fewer than on the last couple of shows. There's been a lot of weekend action, I think, to catch up on the last couple shows. I want to say they're all American. They are all American.
They are. Yeah. Starting with Elijah Bates, scouting Zach Steffen, 22-year-old American goalkeeper for the Columbus Crew. Steffen had a stellar run in the MLS playoffs with outstanding performances against both NYCFC and Toronto. He saved 4 of 6 penalties in the playoffs. That includes the shootout against Atlanta, with 3 saves in that game. His performances have brought him further into the USMNT spotlight, as did some shaky goalkeeping from both Bill Hamid and Ethan Horvath in the USA-Portugal match.
That's harsh on Hamid.
He had that one where he parried
Horvath.
it straight up. I think I might have made it sound harsher because Elijah talked about both of those moments.
Okay.
But yeah, it's more so that like one where he parried it up in the air and then had to backpedal to catch it, Bill Hamid. Anyway, expectations are that Stefan Bono, the Toronto goalkeeper, and Jesse Gonzalez will likely get looks in January, with Hamid having moved abroad and Brad Guzan requiring a rest.
Brad Guzan, I think it's fair, right? Take the winter off, Brad.
Well, I think also he hasn't had much of a break, right? Because he came in mid-season at the end of the... I forget where he was, Championship or Premier League loan?
He was getting relegated with Middlesbrough.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, some news came out today, right? It's not really news. It's more like the news is that US haven't done anything. US Soccer hasn't done anything. Dave Sarachan and the regular sort of Bruce Arena Walking Dead staff will be in charge for the January camp, and that 30 players will be called up to the January camp starting January 10th.
Which really isn't that surprising, given that Sunil Gulati won't be running. New president, nobody wants to make any sort of action before that date.
Fear the Walking Dead. Jeff and Sam Huffman are scouting Miquel Akele, the 20-year-old American attacker, for Villarreal C in the Spanish 4th Division. Akele came on in the 77th minute of a 3-1 loss to Elche Ilicitano. It's an interesting name for a team. This past Saturday. And then started against Brunel on Tuesday. He showed off his quickness, was strong in possession, was highly involved in the attack, highlighted by his not quite but almost MLS assist on the game-winning goal in the 1-0 win. He sent a ball into the box, which was chested down and struck by a striker. Then the second striker finished the rebound. I'm going to give him credit for it.
Jeff and Sam, basically, that was a clarification. They initially emailed
I saw it as a follow-up email. Right?
He got the MLS assist, it's great. And then kind of like, well, we were just very excited because he played and we got to see it. So it counts. I'm giving it to him. MLS assist.
That's good. Scouts emotionally invested in their scoutee.
Yes. Tristan Gilliland-Kunkel scouting Derek Jones, 20-year-old American midfielder for the Philadelphia Union and Bethlehem Steel. Jones recently signed a 1-year contract extension with the Union, despite only playing in 13 games across all competitions this season for Philly, scoring 1 goal, I believe, in the U.S. Open Cup.
He was busy at the U20 World Cup for a little while.
True.
Well. Yeah.
Instead, he spent most of his time at the U20 World Cup, but also with Bethlehem, their USL affiliate. However, Union manager Jim Curtin said they strongly believe Jones is poised for big things and want to see more from him next season. Whether that will be with Philly or with Bethlehem remains to be seen.
With Philly, please, Jim.
Indeed.
Yeah. Zachary Betcher is scouting Timothy Weah, the 17-year-old American striker at PSG. Can I say Zach Betcher and Tim Weah?
Sure.
Be more casual. Weah has been nominated for the US Soccer Young Male Player of the Year award, with the release stating Weah became the first American to score a hat-trick in the knockout round of a men's World Cup, with a triple in the USA's round of 16 victory against Paraguay. US Soccer, just hire me to write your releases.
I just like so many things about that one sentence. Come on, guys. Get it together. Yep.
Stephen Hernandez. Oh, excuse me.
Steven Hernandez, scouting Keaton Parks, 20-year-old American defensive midfielder at Benfica. Daryl, you can also get it together. Keaton Parks continued his rapid rise at Benfica with a contract extension through 2022. Keaton traveled with the team last weekend for their match against Porto, but did not make the bench. Also didn't make the bench in the Champions League this week. That said, it looks likely that he will be in the squad for Benfica's next match against bottom-of-the-table side Estoril.
I would recommend finding the photo of Keaton Parks holding his
adorable
jersey at the contract signing. They've given him a 5XL jersey. because they need to get the numbers 2022 across the back. So it is gigantic.
I forgot that's why they had to do that.
But it's also a nice reminder that they call him Keaton. Right?
Oh,
so his
yeah.
name, just a regular like first name, last name, Keaton Parks.
Yeah.
But for some reason his name is like Portuguese style or Brazilian style, I guess. Keaton across the back. I like it.
I like to think that there was that like Portuguese Brazilian influence that he was like, "Hi, I'm Keaton Parks," and they're like, "No, you're Keaton now."
You pick one word, 2 syllables max, and we'll see what we can do.
Yes.
And here's this massive jersey. So thank you to Elijah, Jeff, Sam, Tristan, Zach, and Stephen.
Yes.
Pronounce it correctly.
You did. Good job, Daryl.
I feel like you and Saka were about to hire me, then they heard me mispronounce Stephen's name.
Yeah, I shouldn't have called you out that hard. I apologize. I ruined everything for you.
I'm stuck working with you still.
I'll take it. That's fine.
Right. If you'd like to join the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network and support the show, the URL is totalsoccershow.com/join. If you'd like to buy a TSS t-shirt, you are too late. I gave you plenty warning. It expired at midnight last night. Thank you to everybody who purchased a t-shirt.
Yeah, I was writing the show notes last night, and I was going to include the buy our shirts. If you buy today. And it was I think it was 9 o'clock when I left here. So I was
3 hours,
that's not going to work. Yeah.
But thank you to everybody who's purchased. I've been told by Bonfire, which is the company that runs the t-shirts, that they will arrive before December 24th, on or before December 24th. If for some reason you need that t-shirt before the morning of December 25th.
If for some reason.
All right, Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy. I hear Santa Claus is actually wearing Total Soccer Show shirts these days.
Is that
That's
right?
What he wears.
He should.
Yeah.
Just loads of them.
Big red jacket, Total Soccer Show shirt underneath.
Maybe with a Total Soccer Show scarf from Roughneck Scarves.
I mean, obviously.
Keep his neck warm.
That went without saying.
Under his beard. Yeah. If you see it poking out under his beard, that's what it is.
Yes.
Listeners, thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with some listener questions. Until then, we'll talk to you tomorrow.